You're thinking.
Welcome to Holistic Health and Harmony, and today's topic will be connecting with your guide. So we hope you join us for the whole 20 minutes or so, or maybe
Well, hopefully, yes.
we might make 20 minutes today. So this is a great topic. A lot of people ask a lot of questions about guides and angels and how they work. So what do you think, Carolyn?
Okay, so what I usually do for myself is that I believe that we have our guides and angels at any time, so it's up to us how we choose. Now, you don't have to do it like all the textbooks might say. You might just have your way, just walking with nature, just listening to your thoughts. You may be finding that you have a meditation. Some people light a candle. You know, some people connect with their crystals. Everybody will do it a little bit different.
So when you're connecting with guides, so one of the most important things is to kind of like question some things. Don't just say, oh yeah, that's my guide. You know, ask some questions, ask specific questions that only someone who is close to you, or as in like close to you spiritually, or close to you as in a physical guide. Because you know there are many forms of guides, and I guess that's really important. A lot of people go, well, a guide is, you know, not here, a guide's on the other side. Well, yes, we do have spirit guides, and we do have loved ones that guide us from the other side, but we also have what we call human guides.
Yes.
I like to say human. It sounds weird. I sound like an alien, don't I? Saying human guides, but we do have guides.
I sound like an alien.
Well, I do sound a bit out there. And I'm one of the most grounded spiritual healers that you'll know. But yeah, so we do have what we call human guides. And I have to say, honestly, Carolyn, over the 20 or nearly 30 years, or 25 years of knowing, we'll go over those years of knowing each other, I'd have to say you've been one of my guides, you know.
So we can have like angelic guides, we can have energetic guides, we can have, you know, religious guides, we can have human guides, we can have animal guides, we can have...
Well, it's like the animal totems, but that's another topic
in
itself.
That is, yeah. But, you know, hey, we are talking about connecting to your guides and your angels, so it is finding what works for you as well.
Yeah. People often say to me, Rayleen, how do I connect with my guides? And, you know, one of the best forms of connecting with a spirit guide, per se, is doing a bit of meditation, you know, getting into the art of meditation and really kind of like connecting, because you have to be in a really beautiful, clear space sometimes to really get that direct connection with a spirit guide, you know. And, you know, guides change as well, you know, guides do change. I mean, I remember years ago I used to have an American female guide with me. She was the funniest, I must say. She was the funniest, and she made me laugh. And I'd actually, every now and then when I was talking to a client, I'd come out with this amazing American accent, which I can't do, by the way. But
I do that with a New Zealand one. People often go, like, are you a Kiwi? And I go, no.
But it's the guide that's working with you at that time. And you can people say to me, can you have, you know, how many guides do you have? Sometimes you can have heaps. Sometimes you might only have one guide at that particular time. So I mean, it's always worthwhile, questioning your guide. And again, I do it through meditation. My guides are pretty much with me all the time. I'm sure yours are too.
Everybody's is.
Yeah, but I mean, I acknowledge my guides all the time. So that would be a better way.
I call mine guys upstairs. Everybody knows that. So I'll say the guys upstairs are saying, or this is what's happening in the guys upstairs. And I can remember doing a phone reading for this lady, and I said, oh, look, the guys
upstairs
are saying, she goes, you have people living above you? It's like, no.
Yeah,
so, you know, but for myself, okay, I was never a very strong meditator, okay? So, for instance, I can't close my mind down for, you know, like an hour or something like that. But what I did find is that I was able to turn the lights off in my space, okay? So, as in my little office space, and I used to turn the lights off, and I just burn some incense, and I'd just sit there very, very quietly, and I would say to them, what is it that I need to know? Okay, and I would wait to see what would come through. Now, sometimes it would be nothing. It would be an absolute nothingness. And to have that nothing was for me to be able to say, hey, I just need to disconnect at the moment, okay? And other times I might get something quite prolific come through, you know, a beautiful message or a sensation or a feeling or whatever. Now, a lot of people will ask about the guides' names. Now, did you know it took me many, many years, and I never really knew my guide's name until you talk about America. I went over to America twice, and the very first time that I went over, I actually got to meet a guide, which I didn't even realise was a guide. I thought that it was just an energy that was left over from this other person's previous relationship. And it was a Native American man standing there, and he ended up coming to me in several different forms over a period of time, and his name was Amawichi. And Amawichi, actually, through that bit of a journey that I was on, because he didn't stick around, he was only there for about 10 years, but, he kind of came through and he taught me a lot about how to understand symbolism, how to listen and to be the observer and to tune into nature that is around you, because, as you know, a lot of the Indigenous Americans are very, very strong on nature and season and animals and totems and so forth, right? But this is about being the observer and really watching what is happening around you. So sometimes the guides and the teachers that can come in can have a very strong impact on some part of your growth patterning that may be going.
And that's true, and that's, and you'll find, like with guides, some people will want to know names, and guides you don't need to have a name. You don't need to be, You just need to acknowledge, you need to listen to what they're trying to show you or share with you at the time, because your spiritual growth will change so frequently. And you may, in particular have a male guide that's with you for a long time, because you're needing to connect a little bit more with the masculine aspect of the energy. Yeah, most definitely. I often have one or two different times. I can have 3 or 4 different guides, but with that, I know that there'll be one that will in particular that will work with me for certain areas, and it's not for me so much. Sometimes I think it's also for my clients.
Most definitely.
Getting to know your guides, getting to connect with guides is absolutely amazing. Now, I know for some of you might go, wow, that's all airy-fairy, but keeping in mind what I said from the beginning of the, this little talk, was that you do have human guides as well, and sometimes we may know them as gurus, spiritual teachers.
Well, earth angels, I call them earth angels, because quite often an earth angel can come into your life, and it can be...
change tire, like for me.
Oh, most definitely. Another really quick classic example, I get asked a lot about, soulmates and, like when am I going to meet my twin flame and all the rest of it. Okay, and I know this is going to be a totally different subject, but quite often when you're going through a very troubled time in your life, a human will come into your life that will help you to get to the next step. Okay, and I call these people earth angels, of course, because of the way that they come in, and they may help you to build an encouragement to leave a situation or to move on or to grow or to accept or to go through a grief or to go through a happiness or to have an experience that there was no other way you were going to have this in that situation without this other person kind of coming in.
They change the dynamic.
They do, and the awakening that they bring is just so brilliant that you never really go back to being that old person again. You come out of it with a whole new, understanding, and perspective of your life. Now, that's a physical thing. When you're dealing with some of your guides and your angels, it's a lot of that is faith. It's not a physical thing. I can remember doing automatic writing, sitting down.
Your way.
Yeah, that's it. And I remember laying in bed, and I'm just laying there, and I'm looking right down at the end of my bed, and I said to the guys upstairs, I go, how do I know you're real? I mean, how do I know you're not a figment of my imagination, that I'm not crazy, that I'm not hearing voices in my head? How do I really know, that you are who you are, and I'm just not here thought forming and writing out what I need to write out or whatever else? And I sat there, and for a whole kind of like what seemed like, eternity, which was only kind of like a mere second or two, I sat there, and all of a sudden in my head I heard, what are you expecting? A drum roll and flashing lights? And I just burst out laughing. I went, actually, yes, guys, I am. I am looking for the thing. But over the years, I just learned to trust. I learned to trust that when I had a feeling, when I had a piece of information, when I was getting what I was getting, to trust that, because sometimes they don't have to be there in a physical way, okay, to, like, come forth. that they can deliver that message through, you know, the weather. They could, you know, use it through symbolism. They can use it through a person, you know.
Definitely. And, you know, guides won't be any different sometimes than yourself. I mean, you're talking now. A lot of people think,
it'll sound like you talking.
yeah. Don't let people start thinking there's something wrong with them. Well, it is.
Don't ever go to the doctor and say you hear voices. It's like, I shouldn't say that.
It's what we call the inner voice. And the inner voice is when you first start out understanding guides and working with guides and working with your guides more, it will seem like, you know, it will be like, is that me talking to myself? So but you do start to distinguish what's yours
Most
and what's your own mind's chatter and what your guide's trying to bring
Most definitely, because you disconnect the ego. Ego and is you know.
You say ego really cute. Ego. That's a little bit of an accent.
I know. Well, see, this is what happens. Yeah, so you disconnect the ego. You're able to listen more closely to the information that is unfiltered by the conscious mind.
Yeah.
You know, you're not putting it into perspective. You're just allowing it to flow through.
And a good way of doing it is a little bit like yourself. If you're not sure at first, you know, just get pen and paper and say, okay, I ask my guide now to be present in this moment with me, to bring through all that I need to know. And it might be a few words. It might be take a break. It might be
a doodle.
A what?
A doodle. You know, when you draw a picture. No, when you draw a picture. No, it's called a doodle.
Doodling.
Doodling.
Not a doodle.
Well, it is. It's a doodle. Not a doodle. Not a. No, I didn't mean it like that. I meant, you know, like a picture.
Doodling.
It could be a flower, or it could be, a tree, or a bird, or a shape.
Oh.
You know what I meant?
No, like, it doesn't sound like you say it could be a doodle.
Doodle. Well, you know, as in a doodle, as in a
doodling.
picture, you know, compared to a whole massive
this is
page
be one
of
those
art.
moments. But I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, and you know, working with guides is great because, one, you feel connected. Two, you know that you're connecting with your guide, and your guide knows that you're willing. Excuse me, now I've got tears in my eyes. Your guide knows that you're willing to open up and acknowledge that they're present, or he or she or several.
Yeah, because they're androgynous. Androgynous is the word. Okay, I know they're neither male nor female, but they will bring through the energy that you need. So it can be that it's more masculine, more feminine. It could be it's quite neutral.
That's right. Yeah. So start working with your guides, everyone. You know, whether it's just on a daily basis. You know, and I hear people say, "Oh, I asked my angels or I asked my guides to get me a parking spot." Okay, that's so simple for guides, but you know, I have to say, let's go a little bit higher, a little bit bigger. Let's get more, you know, because sometimes as simple as getting a car spot isn't as good as knowing something that you might need to know for a future event. You might be able to say, okay, my aunt's having a party. Is it going to go well? I asked my guide, is this going to be, who's going to be there? Get a little glimpse of who's going to be there before. It's a little bit like tapping in to a source that, you know, only your guide gives you the permission to see, in a sense, and opens you up to. So yeah,
and going off that as well, sometimes you can go through a period of time that you're feeling a little bit disconnected from your life. You could be feeling like you're going through a period of time feeling a little bit out. You know, you don't know exactly what's happening. You just don't feel like you're yourself at this time. And now, of course, if you do have a medical issue, you do need to go and see a specialist, you know, or somebody that can help you in that area. But majority of the time, it can be that you are, you know, needing to maybe filter in a little bit more information. You can ask your guides and your angels to bring through that you need. What is this next progression that I need in my life at the moment? Where do I need to be seen? What do I need to be paying more attention to? Okay, and they can kind of bring that in through conversations. It may be through a pass through, you know, like memory or something that will come back up and you go, you know what, I really did want to study, I really did want to do this, or I really, you know, do want to move, and I keep on putting that down, you know, no, I can't do it, or I can't afford or to, you know. So what you do is you talk with your guides and your angels and you say, well, listen, okay, thank you for that information. Thank you for bringing that through for me at this stage. Now, can you help me to work out the best way I can make this come together now? How can I do this? Because quite often they can't do the work for you. It does come down to you doing it. Like, that might be great for them finding the car park, but you had to have eyes to be able to see that car park.
And you have to drive the car in there. So
that's exactly right.
So yeah, so don't always think for a moment that the guides are going to do everything, because you actively play a role with your guides, and,
yes.
and I guess that's really important. You know, is that, you know, yes, you may get the information that you require at the time, but your guide's not going to be able to turn the steering wheel or make something happen. You have to definitely be actively a part of it.
That's exactly right.
And you know, the more you work with the guides, your angels, the more it becomes a very natural part of your being.
Most definitely. And like, you know, I spend a lot of time, a lot of mileage on the road, and quite often I can go into phases where I'm thinking, and then I might say, well, you know, what is it that I really need to be paying more attention to at the moment? You know,
I'm sure the guides say the road.
Yeah, well, often they can say that as well, but they can bring up sensations and feelings and you know, situations that I might be going, oh, okay, yeah, I need to take a little bit more of a closer look at that. So it can be not just healing, it can be teaching, it doesn't have to always be prophetic, as in something that they're showing you for the future.
That's right.
Sometimes it can be something that you can internally need to be working on at the moment, okay? Yeah, that's exactly right.
I have my nose sniffle now because I was laughing so much about your doodling.
Oh, yes. Well, yeah, it is, yeah. Everybody good will doodle. Because even if doodling is like a plural. Doodle, one picture doodle is a doodle.
I thought my finger the other week was bad. My nail.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the nail.
Yeah. So, what else would we?
Well, what I would like, can I, you know, just give you a very quick step on working with you guys. So, to connect, all right, you can take a walk, you can clear your head space. Okay, it's about removing all logic from this situation. Okay, it's almost like as if just before you're ready to go to sleep, you know how you get that absolute buzz of nothing. It's that hum of nothing going on. That's actually when they come in the most. It's when you're not focusing, okay, the most, because when you're focusing, you're putting logic to everything. You know, so you could be washing up, you could be vacuuming, you could be, you know, going to pick the kids up, whatever it might be. Okay, sometimes it's just a normal activity. It isn't always meditation, and you'll get the biggest amount of information maybe coming through. So learning to honour yourself by taking a bit of time out, okay, and letting whatever messages or information come through. Listening very strongly to your intuition and to everything that's going on. And now we've got someone that wants to win the snip.
I just noticed that, you know, it's almost like all of a sudden they're going to have noise pollution.
Hey, but it's going to be all right, because at least you know that we're talking over it.
And we can do a lot of talking. But yeah, that was really good advice for the, you know, connecting with your guides. You know, the stillness of the mind is always the most important thing to working with anything with your spiritual path, I believe.
Most definitely.
So the more that you can find that stillness within, you know.
Well, within yourself as well. Now, we were going to go through and talk about the fact that, you know, sometimes with a lot of the, yes, it's all fine, a lot of our picture has frozen, and Rayleen's a little bit nervous, but as you guys know, it'll pop up. Yeah, okay.
Maybe.
Basically what you're going to do is find that when you're working with your guides and your angels, okay, not only are you trusting this, you're growing with them. And at different times you may have an interchange, which we've talked about before. Now, for myself, when I know that I'm having an interchange, I actually get a little bit teary. I get teary, or I get a little bit kind of emotional, or I tend to find that, you know, like I kind of get like a little bit frustrated with myself, and then all of a sudden it's like it might take a week, and then all of a sudden it kind of passes, and then it's like as if I feel like there's a breath of fresh air come back into my life. And that's not unusual to hear people say, yeah, I was having a really, difficult time, and then all of a sudden it's like I felt everything was good, and it was like, yeah, maybe one guide was disconnecting because another one at another level was coming in. It is a little bit like that.
It is a little bit of a grief process sometimes.
You feel a little bit abandoned.
Well, yeah, and we're never really abandoned because there's always someone or some energy or some connection that's always
there.
Very much there. Yeah. So I think we've covered the topic pretty good today.
I think we have too. So what do you think? How do you, or what have you learnt from this, or what could you do to better connect with your energetic layers as far as your guides and your angels? What have you noticed that's a little bit different? If you notice that, you've had a particular bird hanging around often, or if you've noticed that you're, going through, the same street signs all the time, and or you're noticing things a little bit brilliant, kind of popping out at you, particular words, numbers, and times. Often our guides and our angels communicate with us on many different levels. It's not always as in, dream state.
Read the signs, and ask the questions. Ask the questions to your guide. Read the signs. Be very consciously aware of what's going on around you. And I just, on that note, I remember once I was watching a plane go over, and I watch planes go over the sky many a time, but for some unknown reason they wanted me to look up, and it was like, okay, and within a week I was going on a plane, so it was like their little way of saying, we're going to take you flying. And that was when I went on one of the shows, Sensing Murder. So, it's amazing how it all happens, and it's not all logic, guys. I guess that's the important thing to keep in mind. It's not all logic. It is a trust. It is a working with and finding a way that works with you and your guides too. Ask for little signs, external signs, not internal. Sometimes it can be an external sign.
That's it. Be the observer. Be the observer and be the vessel. Be open and, be the observer. Well, and hey, contact us and connect with us on Facebook, okay, or leave a comment on our many pages on
Facebook. But we love hearing your feedback, and we would love to know a little bit more about you and what's happened with your guides. Have you felt the changes? Have you, has your guide saved your life at certain times?
Most definitely.
Let us know. We're always open to your feedback.
Is your guide somebody that as in, is it a family member? Quite often, people come in at different areas of our life, and sometimes they can be a higher purpose, and sometimes they can just be the everyday person.
So we hope you've enjoyed today's topic, and we look forward to seeing you very soon. And thank you once again. And
most definitely, cosmic hugs from me.
Namaste from me.